You're in class now. You know, this is not high school, this is college level, so pay attention. Come down to the lower amphitheater. There are 2 seats here. She'll move her close. Right here, the first row. First row. She can sit alone up there because she doesn't pay attention. Sit here. There are 2 seats right here for you. Now that looks much prettier. I like it. Well, now that I've been a grouchy instructor telling you where to sit as usual, because that's a sign of a word that we don't use anymore, respect for what is being presented to you. Mr. Mendelson is the CEO of an important company, and he's very kind. When I call to say, yes, I'll come and give you my time, and I've heard him, he has a lot of appointments and meetings to go to right after this. So we should be appreciative of him and to do the thing that shows that we are anxious to hear him close up, right? That word is known as respecting what's given to you. I don't think it's in the dictionary anymore. All right, I'm going to make a few quick announcements to the class as far as your work. I will announce that your final exam is next Monday, May 10th, a multiple choice test. And I hope you've taken notes because it's based on the guest speakers we've had this semester. So study your notes because we're going to, the exam will be based on what the guest speakers spoke about, multiple choice. And the procedures and the details of the requirement, how to sit and what you'll be required to do that day, that you will pick up the outline when you come in and check in your attendance, for attendance. And the grading system I will announce. And the field trip, as we announced, a visit to theory, they still haven't given me a date, and I think it's a little too late this semester, but I'll let you know next Monday, all right? And on the 17th, we have FSN, the Fashion Service Network, which is a baby of our dean. She thinks that's an important group for you to know, and they are very interesting. So you'll have that class, and that will be your final class, and then we'll talk. Okay. What else? Oh, yes, I'm extremely shocked and disappointed at your poor presentation of your field trips. I don't think you read your course outline, and I'm not going to read all of it. The way your trips should be mounted, you're getting them back because you don't follow your course outline. If you don't have a copy of your course outline, you can pick one up. You know, each trip must be mounted on white letter-sized paper, which is proof of attendance of the museums or whatever, have to be put on the page, the coverage, a program, only a piece of it, or signature of the tour, exhibition, etc., etc. I'm just skipping around. Also, your name and the date and the field trip. And you tape, the most important is you tape all this securely with Scotch tape all around. You don't let the brochure dangle. I don't need the brochure. I only need an example, a cover of it. That's what it says here in your course outline, in case you haven't read it. And the sloppy presentation is something that you should think over, because when you go out in the business world, when you graduate from here, or even now as interning, your presentation is very important. You might as well practice now, because your field trip is also an example of how you think, how you feel, and if you have pride in yourself, you don't just dangle the whole brochure on a piece of paper and it falls off and we have to put it back together for you. And we're returning all the poorly, there are 23 of you, the poorly mounted field trips are going back, and you corrected and handed in. Okay, the deadline was Friday. And so please take pride in yourself. When you do something, make it look attractive and the way you feel. You'd like to dress beautifully, so your presentation should represent who you are and what you are. And when you do it sloppy, it doesn't make a good impression to the company who's going to hire you. Remember that. Okay, that's enough about I think that's all I can talk about as far as the course and the students. Now I'm anxious to ask my most respected, wonderful, he's a special presence in our fashion industry and marketing, merchandising. I consider him a genius with a foresight. Mark Mendelson, now President CEO of Ellen Tracy. Are we paying attention, or did you lose something up there? Mark Mendelson is President CEO of Ellen Tracy, a position he was appointed in May 2008. And he came to Ellen Tracy from another great company, Ann Taylor. And in 2001, Mark was president of 9 West Apparel and Jones of New York in 2002. In 2005, Mark was promoted to Chief Merchandising Officer of the Jones Apparel Group until 2007. And currently, as you know, he is President CEO of Ellen Tracy. He's a graduate of SUNY in Albany with a dual major, economics, psychology, and he became sales manager at Macy's East then, and a buyer for Bonwit Teller. He's held the position of president also at Ellen Tahari in the past. But one of the great things that I want to point out to you, it's not only great to be an officer in an important company, but Mark also fulfills his love of serving and taking care and being part of the fashion industry. He serves on the board of the High School of Fashion Industries, where in 1989 he helped start the Adopt a Student Mentor program. His contributions include mentoring individual and providing students with internships, as well as hosting monthly activities such as award ceremonies. He is a person who likes to give to the young fashion people, and that's why when he comes here, you will see, you will learn a great deal, make notes, okay? Because I'm going to include him in your final exam. That's enough from me. Mr. Mendelson, help me, come. Thank you, sweetheart. My love.
That's me. Hi. Do I need this? Still need it? All right, fine. Nah, it's okay. Yeah. All right, hi. So after all that, you're all in a good mood, ready to hear me. Well, I think I sound important. So how many of you, Professor told me a lot of you want to be designers. How many of you want to be designers? A lot of want to be designers. And the rest of you want to be marketing or merchandising? Merchandising. Okay, no, it's okay, I got it. So basically, guys, I'm CEO of a company. So that means that design reports to me, merchandising reports to me, sales reports to me, the store people report to me, production reports to me, sourcing reports to me. They all report to me. Especially in these days where at Jones there were big silos and there was lots and lots of people. I mean, out in the field I had 125 people across the country. Now I have 5. Production, we had pattern rooms on multiple floors. Now I have 1 pattern maker and 4 tech designers. So the world is absolutely the bureaucracy has collapsed. So organizations are much flatter, and as the professor said, you know, I'll probably have, in my little one floor now, I'll have 10 interns this summer. If they don't show up, if they don't have good attitude, if they don't have good energy, if they don't do a good job, there's 20 other kids waiting for the internship. So you really do need to stand out. Basically what I want to do is quickly take you through what's going on with Ellen Tracy. How many of you are familiar with Ellen Tracy? Okay, so that's not bad. It's a 61-year-old brand. We're not talking about that so much because anybody out there want to brag about being 61 years old? So, especially not in this room. So, basically, I worked at Jones for about 8 years, and as the professor said, I left as chief marketing officer. So basically, all of design reported to me. I had 8 sportswear brands, and towards the end, I got 4 dress brands. And what I'm really good at is managing designers and creative and merchandising, and I like to sell. The finances and how much money you spend and getting the stuff made and shipped and the warehouse and the POs and the customer service doesn't interest me at all, even though I'm having to deal with that too. So I kind of like to do what you guys want to do. So what they decided at Jones was, rather than have me be in charge of an entire brand, why don't we give him 12 brands and let him be in charge of all the stuff he likes to do, and you can hire financial people to do all that other stuff. So, but I left Jones, and basically about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Ann Taylor was trying to figure out what the next big thing was going to be. Everybody's trying to figure out, before the world fell off a cliff in October of 2008, everybody was trying to figure out, you know, business was booming, people were growing, and if you're a public company, you want to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So everybody was trying to figure out what's the next big thing going to be. So Ann Taylor, where I had worked in 87 to 93, Ann Taylor was looking for the next big thing, and they had Ann Taylor Loft, and they spent a year researching, should we do maternity, should we do kids, should we do Ann Taylor Home? And the big thing that came up, which is something that I've kind of always known, was there is a huge opportunity for women 40 plus. So how many of your mothers are 40 plus? Okay, good. So I'm dressing your mother. And the issue is, most of you are girls, but the issue is students. I normally say girls, but students. Nobody wants your mother's money. So if you think about it, from a marketing standpoint, name me one brand that's out there that speaks to your 40, 50-year-old mother. She doesn't want to look. One of our big muses, and I'm going to take you through this, but one of our big muses is Michelle Obama. The woman is 46 years old. She lives with teenage daughters, and she lives with her mother. She doesn't want to look like the mother. She doesn't want to look like she's trying too hard, and she's trying to be the teenage daughter. I have a 50-year-old real estate agent in Tucson that sold me a retirement house. 50 years old, the husband dumped her and left her after 30 years. She's going to the wedding last June of her 24-year-old son. She's now got to go back east from Tucson to Baltimore. She's got to go to a week-long affair for her 24-year-old son, his 23-year-old wife, and the ex-husband's bringing his 30-year-old girlfriend. What brand would you like her to wear? Forget the wedding. I actually bought her the dress for the wedding because she takes care of my house in Tucson. I dress her. Forget the wedding. The wedding's easy because you go and you buy a nice dress for your daughter or your son's wedding. What do you wear to the rehearsal dinner Friday night? What do you wear to the bridesmaids brunch on Sunday? What do you wear all week long when you've got a 23 or 24-year-old daughter-in-law that you don't want to look like her grandmother at 50? You can't look like you're trying too hard because then you look stupid compared to the 30-year-old ex-husband's girlfriend. What brand do you wear that makes you look modern, current, relevant, sophisticated, not frumpy, not old lady, but not like you're trying too hard? I went to my nephew's communion this weekend, and my brother and his wife are, Dennis just turned 50, and Lisa just turned 48, and of course had her face done a month ago. We're teasing her. And she has an 8-year-old son. This is Dennis's third wife, sixth kid. Zachary was 8. So Dennis has a 30-year-old daughter, and Dennis has a 6-year-old son, or 8-year-old son. And we went to the communion in New Canaan on Sunday. Well, the mothers are all in their 40s. So you guys could, God forbid, very soon. My mom was 17 when she had me. When I was 8, my mother was 25. These mothers are 45. Well, if they dress in frumpy old lady, Coldwater Creek, Talbot's, Chico's kind of clothes, they look like the grandmother of the kid. But if they go and they try to dress hip and cool and juicy and BCBG, they look stupid, especially if their bodies are changed. You know, sometime in their 40s, women go through menopause, their body changes. If they've had kids, their bodies change. Sorry, girls. Trust me, my body's changing too, but I don't have the stuff y'all have going on. So philosophically, so now I'm going to go back to, so I've given you my sister-in-law and her group of girls, women in New Canaan. I've given you my real estate agent in Tucson. I can give you the 67-year-old widow in Bloomingdale's in Boca that I waited on a year ago who said, my husband died 2 years ago and left me millions. I'm dating again. Do you think I want to wear Eileen Fisher and St. John? No offense about Eileen Fisher and St. John. I'd love to have all their money. But philosophically, they don't want to date in frumpy clothes. So now again, I'm going to ask the question, name me one brand that tells this woman, 40 plus, tells your mother, we love you, we think you're great, we want your money. They all want your money, and your mother can cherry pick and you can try to help her get into a piece or two. But overall, unless they look just like you, and sometimes in New York and LA they look just like you from the back, inevitably they don't look like you. They're what you're going to look like after you've had yourself and you've grown up. So raise your hand if you can tell me the brand that's out there saying, we love you, we think you're fabulous, we want your money. One brand out of all the clothes you see in all the stores. I'm listening. Come on, you got to, one brand. That's a good answer, but forget it. We're going to explain to you why it's Ellen Tracy, but so you really can't think of any brand. Okay, that's kind of sad, don't you think about it? If you think about all the stores, all the online, okay, now you get to the movie stars and the celebrities, because everybody's like, okay, who are you putting in your ad campaign? Meryl Streep, Diane Keaton, Helen Mirren, Sally Field. Okay, finally, Halle Berry turned 40. I mean, think about it. Name me a real woman celebrity that's not anorexic. Okay, you can tell me Jennifer Aniston's in her 40s. Yeah, because a lot of 40-year-olds look like her. But think about it. So this customer, your mother, and I interviewed somebody today who had a wife that raised his 4 kids. And so when I interview a guy, especially a straight guy, they really typically kind of glaze over. Because keep in mind, the 45-year-old guy is the one that dumped his wife for the 30-year-old girlfriend or 25-year-old girlfriend. So philosophically, when I look at the straight guy sitting across from me who wants to come work with me, I'm like, yeah, you're never going to understand it. But so philosophically, if I can throw out to you that it's your mom and nobody wants your mom's money. She's too old, she's too fat, she's not cool, and they want all your money because you all have lots of money, right? And they want none of your mother's money. So she's an empty nester, the kids are out of the house. If she and your dad are still together, they have things they want to do that they haven't been able to do for 20 years while they raised you, and he's going to take her on that safari or that second honeymoon, and she gets to go to Chico's, Coldwater, and Talbot's. Or she's divorced, and she's a cougar, and she's out there looking to date, and that's okay too, and she gets to go and meet a new guy in Chico's, Talbot's, and Coldwater Creek. And you guys still can't name me one brand that says to this woman, we love you, we think you're hot. So, because the other thing we haven't talked about, every once in a while somebody throws out like Ralph Lauren, and I'm like, yes, your mothers can wear Ralph Lauren. If she ever wants to get flirted with or have sex with anybody, she won't in Ralph Lauren, but we like a little bit of sex, so I have to be PC. But again, another way to look at this is, when you guys are walking down the street and the construction worker hoots and hollers at you, you all think it's disgusting. When the 45-year-old walks down the street and somebody's hooting and hollering at her, she's like, okay, what am I wearing? Let me go buy 3 more. So psychologically, you laugh, and it's funny, but think about it. This woman's invisible. So there's no movie stars. Basically, they're old and haggard, or they're 12 years old. I mean, Miley Cyrus is wearing Valentino. Dakota Fanning's wearing Valentino, because there are a lot of 16 and 17-year-olds that can afford couture. So basically, you've got the media is out there showing you what Miley Cyrus and what Dakota Fanning and whatever the hot new starlet is of the month, what she can wear. And then you get Sally Field and Diane Keaton and Meryl Streep. So if you think about it again, there's this big void again. Now, I don't know how this is going to go over. I would have spent more money on the chocolates, but Tracy told me I'd get carried away. So Tracy, come here. We're going to start to send out questions. So we're going to throw y'all, Tracy's going to give you truffles for asking or answering my questions. So we're going to bribe you because I can't stand being the only one talking. I don't need to listen to my voice. I hear it every day. So now I lost my train of thought of what I was going to ask. Nobody wants her money. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, okay. So whoever can answer this question right, we actually were going to give you chocolates for asking questions, but I'm going to give you chocolates. These are Lily O'Brien truffles. He's very cute. It's on 40th next to the Bryant Park Hotel. He has really good chocolate. He came from Ireland, and he opened his own. It's the only freestanding store in the United States. Anyway, how many of you, raise your hand if you know, how many women, just throw out a number of how many women I'm talking about that nobody wants their money. Like, anybody know how many baby boomer women there are in the United States? Because that's a piece of it. So you're going to raise your hand. The worst that happens is you don't get it. No, you're not going to raise your hand? So nobody wants to guess. Nobody wants my truffles. I told you. Nobody wants to guess how many women there are in the United States that we're talking about. Go ahead. How many? No. How many women are being ignored? Nobody wants their money. They're old and fat, and everybody wants the 12-year-old's money. So how many women are in this category that we've decided to go after at Ellen Tracy? Go ahead. 100,000? Nope. A lot more. 200,000? Nope. Nope, not 400,000. 20 million. You're getting warmer. How many? Okay, so she gets a truffle. So the deal is, guys, there are 40 million women, 40 to 60, and if you take 60 to death, because I have my 67-year-old widow who wants to date again, I have my 72-year-old Supreme Court Justice in Fort Worth, Texas at Neiman's who said to me, my new husband is taking me, as she flashes me the pillow-cut $3 million ring, says, my new husband's taking me on a honeymoon to Paris. What do I want to pack for April? I want to look hot. 72, size 6. 60 million women we're talking about, and not one of you can tell me one brand that wants this woman's money. So as designers, who you all want to design for yourselves, everybody wants to design for you, good luck, I hope you have a lot of money, or as merchandisers and marketers, everybody's trying to merchandise and market 20-year-old, 15 to 25-year-olds. Everybody wants cute, hot, pretty girls. That's all really good, and if that's what you want to do with your life, that's fine. I personally like to go after the big, easy, it's called low-hanging fruit. So the low-hanging fruit is 60 million women. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the brand book, and basically what we did is before I took the job, I met with David Littman. How many of you are familiar with the, yeah, okay, not yet. How many of you, we can do it soon. How many of you are familiar with the Lord & Taylor new ad campaign? Have you noticed the new ad campaign from Lord & Taylor? Guys, you got to pay attention if you're in marketing and merchandising. So Lord & Taylor has a new ad campaign. It's all about prices and shop smart, and it's a very clever ad campaign. It's in Vogue. It's in New York Times. You guys really should look it up online. David Littman did the ad campaign. David Littman does, he turned around Burberry with Rosemary Bravo. He does Diane von Furstenberg's ads. He does the David Yurman jewelry ads. If you notice, there's 12-year-olds in those ads too. But David Littman actually did this brand book for me. David Littman is 52 years old. He has a 46-year-old wife. And I interviewed and met him before I took this job because I knew that it wasn't just going to be about changing the clothes. It was going to be changing the marketing and changing the branding and changing dusting off this 60-year-old brand. And David kind of looked at me. I told you the straight men typically glaze over. David's 52. His wife is 46. He has a 9-year-old, and he's in charge of the 9-year-old's Little League thing, whatever those sports things are. So you've got this 52-year-old guy running around as the coach for his 9-year-old son's Little League. Again, he doesn't want to look like the kid's grandfather. At 52, he could absolutely be the 9-year-old's grandfather. He's not. And he has a 13-year-old daughter who, of course, is blossoming into womanhood. And it was his wife's birthday last Memorial Day, and he took the daughter to go shopping for the wife. And he's in the Marc Jacobs store on Bleecker Street, and the daughter's putting on the medium cashmere sweaters for $2,400, and the mediums are fitting his 13-year-old daughter just fine. Now, his wife is beautiful. She was 46 years old. I think Tina turned 47. And he realized that if his little 13-year-old daughter was a medium, he was probably going to have to buy his huge, fat, ugly wife an extra large. And he had spoken with me, and he had heard my story about how there's 60 million women, and he really didn't get it until he realized that his Tina was going to need an extra large in Marc Jacobs. And he also got it. So So that's when we did the book, and he definitely got the whole idea of who this customer is. So I'm going to go through this real quick, and then you're going to have to ask questions. Did she get her truffle? Was it good? You didn't eat it yet? All right, fine. So now can we turn out the lights? Is that a big deal? I have to announce? Okay, could you turn out the lights, please? And then Tracy, what am I hitting? Which button? Oh, could you lower the lights, please? Whoa.
Not that one. Hit this.
Okay.
Just hit it once. Don't hit it multiple times.
If I go that way, will it go backwards?
It'll go backwards.
That was good.
But it might be slow, so just don't hit it.
No, whatever they just did was good. A little more. That's good. That'll work. Okay, so we did this whole branding about the Ellen Tracy woman is. So guys, for those of you, again, that want to be designers, you can design what makes you happy, but do you want to get paid? You know, I interviewed somebody the other day who wants to be a designer. She was actually one of my kids at the High School of Fashion Industries, and she showed me her book, and it was beautiful, and it looked just like her. I definitely believe that designers design for themselves, or if they're gay men, they design for their mothers. So Donna Karan, when she did her line, when she was designing in the beginning, she was a curvy Jewish girl from Brooklyn. She designed clothes for a curvy body. If you think of Calvin Klein being tall and lean and kind of not masculine or feminine, kind of asexual, that's what the clothes look like. If you look at Ralph Lauren's wife, Ricky, she's blonde and waspy and looks like she would ride a horse. Well, magically, look at what the clothes look like. So philosophically, I think that it's really hard. Like, I tend to be kind of loud and I want to be noticed, and I have like little watches, and I get all seriously dressed up and very corporate for things like this. It would be very hard for me to work in a place culturally that was very buttoned up and suited, because it's not who I am, especially at 50-something. I'm not doing anything I don't want to do. So philosophically, it's a lot like who my customer is, but there is a DNA of the brand. So anyway, so for those of you that want to design or merchandise or market, the number one thing you have to do is pick a customer. Just one thing before I talk a little bit, before I get into this, there is a huge, huge store out there right now that will remain nameless because I don't want to get in trouble, that put 40% of its open to buy into juniors on a new launch with a country singer that starts with M and ends in C. So they did this big launch of junior clothes, and 65% of the women that walk through the door are size 14 and up. So you tell me how successful we're going to be in a big store across the country, and you took 40% of your open to buy. By the way, they took it out of large sizes. So they took their money out of large sizes, they launched a junior brand, and they cut back their large size business, and 65% of the women that walk in the door are bigger than a size 14. Does that sound like a recipe for success? So philosophically, you can talk about what you want to design, you can sketch your little brains out, but if you're sketching cute little prom dresses and your customer is 50, I would tell you there's another designer who does really well in men's. He has a store in Grand Central, starts with a K and then a C, and again, I don't want to really pick on anybody, but he was sitting on a Missy floor in the department stores. The department store customer is automatically an older customer. Any of you guys like department stores? Any of you guys want to shop in department stores? Okay, a few of you, but not really. You shop specialty stores, you shop online, you shop flea markets, you shop whatever, but the last thing you want to do is walk into a department store. So philosophically, it's your mom that wants those department stores because she likes all the assortment. That's how she was raised. So philosophically, if you're designing a line for department stores, you're automatically, the customer's older, she's a little bit slower. So then you design a line that's young and fast and doesn't fit an older, slower customer. Does that sound like a recipe for success? So you really do have to be really clear about who you're designing for. So anyway, the Ellen Tracy woman is lively, strong, caring, humorous, creative, cool, flexible, daring, realistic, steady, not perfect. So again, guys, we're going to take your mom. In her 20s and 30s, she might have been working, she might have been raising you guys, she might have been very strict, she might have been a little uptight. In her 40s, she loosened up a bit, and I would tell you that if she's in her 50s, she's probably in a whole different place about how she is with you, and how she is with herself. She's not dressing for anybody. How comfort becomes important. They want to look good. They don't want to look old. They don't want to look frumpy, but they're not going to suffer. So have you ever noticed how shoes are really either very, very sexy and fabulous, but they make your feet hurt, or if they're comfortable, they make you look like a lesbian rock climber? So why is that okay? Why do sexy shoes have to hurt your feet? So anyway, what I loved about what David did here is not perfect. She might have been perfect in her 20s and 30s and 40s, like she wouldn't leave the house without perfect makeup, she wouldn't leave the house without her hair perfect, but now you know what? It's okay. Bold, confident, warm, polished, love this, Tracy, independent, uncensored. Now, this book was put together in May of 2008 when I took the job, long before Michelle Obama was put into office. But look at her body. Think about the White House for 16 years before Michelle Obama got there. The icon for your mother was Laura Bush and Hillary Clinton. Okay, that was the fashion icon for your mother. So what's happened with Michelle Obama is she's not a size 2. She's not an easy body to fit. Everybody's like, oh, she walks around in sleeveless sheath dresses. She walks around in sleeveless sheath dresses. What pant do you think's fitting that butt? What jacket do you think's going to fit on those shoulders and that upper arm? She's athletic. She has a sporty body. She does not have a girly body. Again, tell me what brand at a reasonable price. We're not talking couture. At a reasonable price, tell me what brand she could throw on her body. If you notice those J. Crew cardigans and those pencil skirts, that's the one brand that's figured out how to talk to my customer. It's the one place. It's not really my competition because she's not in a department store. But if you think about it, Mickey's doing Madewell as fast as he can, because how many of you really think J. Crew's cool anymore? It's kind of gotten a little bit 35-ish. So J. Crew has definitely moved on to that 35 to, she's getting married, there's a whole bridesmaids thing. So all of a sudden, this customer's getting married, having babies, her body's changing. So even Mickey figured out he better get something there for the 15 to 25-year-olds, because J. Crew's definitely aging. I can wear J. Crew. Like, I'm 51 years old, it's not made for me, it's fit on a 25-year-old stud, but it fits my body. So if I have to, I can wear J. Crew. So if you go back to Michelle Obama, think about what we're talking about in terms of that she's 46 years old. She certainly is not obese, out of shape, but she's a solid size 10. Oh my God, a solid size 10. The average woman in America is a 14 and 5'4". Willing to express her own identity. There's Oprah. Oprah found our clothes at retail in Chicago. We have a gene we call the Oprah gene because Oprah bought 10 at retail because Oprah will not take clothes for free. So she found a jean she loved, and we let her buy another 9 pair. We may be on the cover, cross your fingers for me, we may be on the cover of her July issue. Spontaneous, again, David gives this customer some fun and some wit, and she could be 40 years old and have a 3-year-old. Her family is her masterpiece. So busy, mom, kids, that's a piece of our customer. She's not sitting home doing nothing. She's a 21st century woman. So for those of you that know the brand, it was at its peak in the 80s and the 90s when women were going into the workforce. And in the 80s and 90s, if you wanted to look powerful and you wanted to look important going to work, you wore Ellen Tracy. It did almost $200 million. By the time my guys bought it, it was doing less than 50. Attention getting and attention giving. She gives and she takes. She makes a point of looking great even when she's taking time out or playing with the kids. Again, that mom on the right, she's certainly not 20. Her style is her own. So this goes back to, I'm not dressing somebody, like you guys all shop together and you want to like be in the hottest thing and you kind of want to look a little bit of alike if you're all wearing leggings, you're all wearing cute tuck-in boots, whatever the trend is of the season. I'm noticing, like I noticed it this weekend in the city, you were all wearing little dresses with like boots. Like, would your mother ever wear a dress with boots? Your mother would definitely wear your print dress that you're all walking around in. She ain't putting boots on with it. So again, she wants to be modern. She needs to be appropriate for 40-something. Varying according to her needs and the occasion. If you notice, again, if we think of your mom, my customer likes accessories because she has such a hard time getting clothes to fit and look right that it's really easy for her to buy bags and shoes. If you notice, over the last few years before the economy got bad, there was that huge boom in designer bags and shoes. Why? Because if I were a 50-year-old woman with money, I can't fit into any designer clothes. Dolce, Gucci, Versace, Jill Sander, Helmet, nobody wants my money, but I can certainly get into a pair of shoes and I can certainly get into a handbag. So this woman buys, the facts are my 60 million ladies buy 2 to 3 times the amount of accessories as you guys do. It's often a mix of old loves and new faves. She knows how to mix it up without getting mixed up. So how many of your moms have that piece of jewelry that dad came home from a trip, or she went on a great trip? You know, I'm happy for these women to be empowered. I don't care if they're married. I don't care if they've ever been married. The issue is they tend to have, because they're not 20 years old, they've collected over the years. So they like to mix things together. She doesn't worry about looking like everybody else. She knows she's one of a kind. She wants to live all her lives, be all herself, a life in full color. She can't just settle for black and white. So the brand's DNA, after 60 years, the brand was always known for color. Ellen Tracy's definitely known for color and print. She takes inspiration for the moment. She knows life is full of possibilities and there's not one route to happiness. She knows life is a dialogue, not a monologue. She's not a trophy wife, not a martyr, not an angel. So again, if you think about your mom growing up, how she and your dad were, she's a little sassier to your dad now that she's a little bit older and you guys are grown up. Like, it's a different world. And we have Michelle Obama, who likes to mix high and low and who likes to wear sportswear and who puts her arm around Queen Elizabeth and everybody guesses and Queen Elizabeth says thank you, okay? And they go on dates. She's a fighter and a peacemaker. She knows the clothes she wears can be as powerful as the words she chooses. Her confidence inspires confidence. She's passionate about what she believes in and rolls with the punches. She takes things in stride, finds solutions, brings things together, doesn't miss a beat. She's not about to shrink to fit. So again, guys, she's not so type A and so perfect at this point. She may have been, but she's definitely loosened up a little bit. She's grace and grit, a survivor. Again, by 40s and 50s, 50% of women have been divorced. Somebody's had breast cancer, heart disease. You know, at 40 to 50, they have elderly parents they're dealing with, and they have kids they're dealing with. So, you know, as a gay man, I'm taking care of my dad. My mother died a few years ago, so I had to deal with my mother dying of cancer, dealing with my dad. I deal with the brothers and sisters. I don't have the kids, but at this age, I should have a 20-year-old kid. So I should have, you know, teenage or 25-year-old kids, and I'm dealing with dad who's at my lake house now with his new girlfriend. Again, he's 72, she's 70. When they decided to date after meeting on eHarmony, would you like her to go to Victoria's Secret to buy her lingerie? She's 70 years old. She certainly isn't going to try to get my dad hooked in a flannel nightie, and she's certainly not going to Victoria's Secret for the latest uplift bra. So again, if we go past this 40 to 60-year-old Michelle Obama and we go to death, there's 60 million women, and it's funny, but it's really kind of sad. Nobody wants their money. It's kind of stupid based on how tough business is out there. I mean, any of you heard the business is good? So she's grace and grit, a survivor. She dares to make the right choices. She's not afraid to please herself, knowing that this is the best way to please others. Friends become part of her family. So I have women at events saying to me, I'm closer with my girlfriend, I'm closer with my sister, I'm closer with my mother. I mean, remember, these 50-year-old women have 70-year-old mothers that look just as good too. So I'm closer with my girlfriends than I am with my family, my husband. They're in her life forever, among the nearest and dearest. They keep her sane, remind her who she is, how it really is, what really matters. Together they let loose, gab, shop, sympathize, make things happen, all the while knowing life is about balance. She has presence of mind. She knows it's not so much about having it all as living it all. Her whole life is her masterpiece. Ellen Tracy should strive for the perfect balance between youthful attitude and grown-up glamour. So if you think about it, guys, I had a 60-year-old brand that needed to be dusted off. Anybody in this room getting younger? So when they get these old brands and they're like, we're going to make her younger, you know anybody getting younger? Because if you do, we should get you right to the National Enquirer. There's nobody getting younger. So our bodies are certainly not getting younger. I have probably the youngest attitude I've ever had. As a person in my life, I'm probably in the best shape because I have time and the money to have a trainer 3 days a week. You know, but I lost 60 pounds. This didn't get better. So even though I'm in good shape and I probably look better than I've ever looked, the body still has issues so my attitude is young, but I want to look like a grown-up. I don't want to look like you guys. Ellen Tracy should make the timeless exist in the immediate and allow the fleeting to be perpetually reborn. Ellen Tracy, the future is today. So that's it for my brand book. Can I have the lights, please? So guys, this is something that David Littman did for us. He did it for Burberry, he did it for David Yurman, he did it for Diane von Furstenberg, and everyone that works in the company sees this book. Everyone we sell to sees this book. And so if a store comes in and goes, why don't you have drop crotch Suave pants? Well, if you look at this book, do you think my customer is going to wear drop crotch Suave pants? The shoe license, every single shoe has comfort built into the sole. So every single shoe has silicone built into it. And if anything looks tortured or dangerous or the heels are too high, we don't allow them on the line. All my necklaces have extenders. So I don't know about you, but at 60 or 50, you don't want a 16 or 18-inch necklace. Again, it may sound funny, but if they're flashing, they're hot all the time. If their bodies are changing, typically it happens in the middle. So this is a good part of her body. This is a good part of her body. We love crop pants because we can get our toes done and wear cute shoes, cute jeweled sandals. Again, am I striking some chords with moms? I'm seeing a few heads shake. So that's the customer I'm dressing. And does your mom come to you and go, help me, there's nowhere for me to shop? Does your mom come to you and say, okay? Now, who has more money, you or your mom? Okay? 60 million women, nobody wants their money. I want their money. We shipped Macy's exclusively starting in March. We picked up 48% ahead of plan the first month on the floor. I had boyfriend jackets, I had vests, we had leggings, we had roll tab, the roll sleeve shirts. On my woman, if it's fit on a 25-year-old fit model, when you roll that shirt, it gets tight here and it cuts off her circulation. I mean, but again, she doesn't want to wear Oompa Loompa clothes. She doesn't want to walk around in, big frumpy things that just hide everything. So it's a very fine line between giving her clothes that are appropriate and right for her and making her look too young or making her look too old. So we're having a good time with this. So I'm going to stop talking some. You guys have to ask me questions. Who has questions? Did you think of any brands for my lady yet, or it's just a pitiful black hole? It's kind of scary. I see you up there thinking, you look like a teacher, though. You don't look like a student. Am I going to get in trouble for saying that? So there's nobody that's got a brand for my poor customer. Don't y'all think it's kind of scary that nobody wants to dress this woman? I mean, it's basically your mom. So nobody wants your mother's money. Do you all think your mother's unattractive and shouldn't have anybody want her money? I mean, it's kind of sad. Yes? Go ahead. Right, so Oscar de la Renta, Donna Karan. Donna, when she's paying attention, absolutely does dress this woman. But again, you get Barbara Streisand. I mean, Diane Lane, which is her daughter-in-law, Diane Lane is one of the few celebrities. She's 46 as well. Diane Lane is one of the few celebrities. I would tell you, if they forced me to use a celebrity in an ad, and frankly, I don't think your mom's running home to look at Vanity Fair, Harper's Bazaar, or Vogue. If they forced me to use a celebrity in an ad, if I could do my ideal ad campaign, it would be a group of women having fun. So it'd be a group of women with their daughters, or it'd be a group of women. I mean, I'm doing events starting this week. I have to fly around to Macy's San Francisco, Macy's Chicago, Macy's Miami, Herald Square I'll be in May 20th, and we're tying into the Sex and the City movie because if you remember the last movie, Samantha turned 50, so she was fabulous at 50. Come on, the other girls are definitely pushing 50, and my customer doesn't look like them, but philosophically, it's that kind of, one of them's married, one of them's divorced, one of them, they all kind of have their stuff. One adopted a kid or had a kid, I can't remember, but they're all in their 40s, and Samantha's 50. Samantha's 50 and single. So the first movie was a huge, huge hit. It speaks to a lot of customers. I went to it in Chelsea, in gay Chelsea, and a limo drove up, and 8 women dressed to the nines in like Acris and Piazza and some Chanel shoes. They came out of the car to come see this movie. So Oscar and Donna, they're just expensive. We took the average price at Macy's. I mean, any of your moms, a lot of your moms in here are affording Donna Karan and Oscar de la Renta. I still think Oscar's a little frumpy, and we like it a little bit sexy. We want her to be a little bit sexy. So Donna definitely did sexy. But again, the price points there are very, very high. We took the average price, when we went from Bridge to Better, and we went to Macy's last year, we took the average price down to $75. So my $238 pants are now $69. My $258 silk charmeuse shirt is now $89 in poly and goes in the wash and doesn't wrinkle and doesn't hurt the environment. So we took the prices way down. We have $29 and $39 t-shirts. Again, if your mom, you're all running around to Forever 21 and H&M and Zara, can your mom fit into that stuff? Even if she's a 6, guys, my designer's a 2. Suzanne's been with me for 10 years. She's a solid 2. Her boyfriend's a trainer. She has arms that are sick. But she'll tell you she weighs exactly what she weighed in high school. Her waist is thicker. Her body is not what it was 10 years ago. The bodies change. So, yes. So, again, I was president of Ellie Tahari. What about Ellie Tahari or Tory Burch? You definitely have 2 brands there, and that was the arena I was in. Again, you're dealing with a very limited audience because the average price there, a jacket at Ellie Tahari is $500, a jacket at Tory Burch is $500. So absolutely, we look at those people. I would also tell you from an aesthetic, we're a little bit more American. Tory's kind of Palm Beachy, kind of statusy with big T's all over it, and Ellie's definitely Israeli and kind of zhazhy. But definitely, when we were in the bridge zone at Neiman's and Saks, those were definitely competition. I would tell you that Ellie's fit is not particularly forgiving for anybody with some meat on their bones, and we go up to a size 18. Ellie and Tori only go up to a size 14 or 12. The best is when I'm on the floor with a customer, and she goes, I'm fitting into your size 12 pants. I'm a 14 in Ellie Tahari. You're running generous. And I go, why am I running generous? Do you think you're a 14 or a 12? Well, I mean, of course I'd rather be a 12. So why am I generous? Why aren't they all skimpy? Again, they're using 25, 28, 30-year-old fit models. My fit model's 50, and her body, even though she has nice arms and she has nice chest, it's a 50-year-old upper arm and it's a 50-year-old back and it's a 50-year-old waist. So you can't fit on you guys and just make it bigger. It doesn't work. Not if you really want to get my customer. Yes, ma'am. Right, and it's completely out of business and basically being moved to JCPenney. Liz Claiborne, yes. And I would tell you in the 80s and the 70s, Liz definitely dressed this customer. See, that's the problem, guys. In the 70s and 80s, a lot of people dressed this customer. The problem is, as she got older, they basically said, screw you, let's go after the daughters. Everybody, again, I'm going to be unpolitically correct, the industry's run by straight men in suits. They dump my customer for 25-year-old girls. So basically, nobody wants to dress. I mean, anybody want to go to a model go-see of 45-year-old women? They want to go see the 12-year-olds, the 16-year-olds, the anorexic models. I mean, the good news is there's a lot of stuff bubbling up that's absolutely helping. And so the fact that, Marc Jacobs and Louis Vuitton use real models, he used Letitia Costa, and it's definitely starting to bubble up. Everybody with business bad is figuring out that they might actually want to talk to these 60 million women that everybody's ignoring. But yes, Liz Claiborne did it. They don't want to wear that brand. The beauty of Ellen Tracy is it was at Neiman's and Saks and Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom's for 60 years. So now when it's at Macy's and it's $75, they're like, wow, I couldn't afford Ellen Tracy. I used to have to buy it on sale. Now you're here. It's exclusive. Any more questions? Yes? Why the decision to be exclusively at Macy's? The old company went bankrupt back in July, and I had to deal with the banks, and I had to get a deal that was solid. So I negotiated a deal with Macy's for a 5-year contract. We have a solid, minimally 5-year contract with Macy's. So basically, I know how much money I'm getting. I know what I have to spend. So the banks were happy, and Macy's is happy to have a 60-year-old brand and shut out Neiman Saks, Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom's. I mean, Dana Buckman went to Kohl's. Charlotte Ronson went to JCPenney. I mean, everybody's looking to have these exclusive brands, so they were very excited. And Macy's has 800 stores. So I could give it exclusively to Lord & Taylor. They have 40 stores. I could give it to Nordstrom's. They have 120 stores. Who else has 700 or 800 stores that can sell some nice clothes? I don't know that. You could do whatever you want with the chocolates. I just don't know how they're going to get handed out to this group. But yes? Anybody else have questions? So definitely over there we have a chocolate-loving group over there. Anybody else, or you're all happy and peppy and thrilled to listen to me yammer? Yes? So what tips would you have for somebody wanting to start their own brand? You have to have a lot of money. Unfortunately, you have to have a lot of money. I don't know, I got asked this the other day too. I don't know that right now I would go out and do my own thing. I think at your age, you guys have some dues to pay and you need a lot to learn. And unless you have a family that's in the business, there's so much you don't know. I mean, I'm 51 years old and I learn something every day. So there's just so much. I mean, I would get into a company and see, I would intern, I would get a job, I would get out there and see. I mean, you're talking to somebody who's fairly safe. You know, back about 7 years ago, my partner and his our ex-boss went and started Vince. So Christopher and Rhea took a chance and started Vince. They still had backers, so they only owned 49% of the company. They never had to deal with all the back office, the shipping, whatever. But Rhea and Christopher started a company. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of money, and you definitely shouldn't do it on your own. I mean, unless you're a trust fund baby, the industry is pretty brutal right now. So I would get experience, and definitely you can keep in touch with me. Ms. Carter knows me. Chelsea was my valedictorian at the high school last year. I see Kristen up there. She's one of my kids. Yes? Yeah. If that quality silk charmeuse blouse also? Right, so the question is, you know, did I sacrifice something by going from $258 to $89 from silk to poly? There's no question. The issue is that the audience is limited at $258, and the $258 silk charmeuse customer was waiting for it to be 50 off with a coupon at Bloomingdale's. So I'm more than happy to let Ellie Tahari and Tori Birch try to do it. If you walk that bridge floor in Saks and Bloomingdale's and Bergdorf's, it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, because really at that price point, again, guys, I used to buy $1,000 cashmere sweaters. My boyfriend sold his company to Kelwood for millions. I have 3 houses. I can afford expensive clothes. For me, a $150 cashmere sweater at J. Crew is a trade down and throwaway. We've all traded down. So I would tell you that psychographically, there's way more customers at $89 than there is at $258. And certainly I'm not getting tons of Neiman's and Saks customers walking into Macy's. We are definitely getting Lord & Taylor, Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's customers that basically bought Ellen Tracy on sale. So there's no question that I may lose 5% of the population, but I'm now catering to probably about 40% of the population. So there's no question at all that the silk charmeuse blouse is a lot nicer than the poly blouse, although I would tell you again, the silk wrinkles, it has to be dry cleaned, it hurts the environment, it takes time to go there. Now the Neiman's lady probably didn't do any of that, she had her housekeeper do it. But, so yeah, it definitely was not, I'm not saying that the $258 blouse. I would tell you my $69 cotton pants that are $4 cotton from China, if I showed you, I'll give you an answer. Nordstrom's took 10 pair of black pants, cut the labels out. The pants were $59 private label to $298 Lafayette 148. They took all 10 pair of pants and they traveled their stores and they asked the customers to tell them which ones were cheap and which ones were expensive. Nobody, without trying them on and wearing them, could tell the difference. Now, there's no question that if you try them on, you wear them, and you stand up in the $59 pants, your butt's sagging and your knees are bagging, and there's no question that probably on your body you could tell the difference. But by touching them on a table, there wasn't a store across the country that could tell the difference. So I think, again, there's so much that we really don't care about. And again, I think we've all traded down. I would rather have, your mom sees you, this customer sees their kids buying throwaway clothes. I have Devana, who works for me, who's also a high school kid, said, my aunts want quantity more than quality. How many of you are buying stuff to wear for 10 years anymore? That customer's not shopping. She wants to go out and buy something cute to wear to dinner, something cute to wear to an affair, a bar mitzvah, a graduation, a confirmation, a christening. She wants cute clothes just like her daughter or the younger kids are, and she doesn't care how long it lasts. So their minds have changed. If they can buy 3 polyester blouses for $89 instead of one $258 blouse, they're kind of okay with that. Am I over-talked? Yes, ma'am. Theory's much more. She could have. I would tell you before I got there, the Ellen Tracy customer, the Theory customer would have said the Ellen Tracy customer is too old. They would have thought Ellen Tracy was too old lady, and I would tell you Theory is up there in those Tory Burch, Tahari price points. Absolutely, Theory is not cool. Do any of you think Theory's cool? Raise your hand if you think theory's cool. It's okay if you do, but okay, there's 3 girls, 5 people in the audience that thinks theory's cool. So, Professor, what's happened is a brand just like J. Crew. I mean, I don't want to be presumptuous. Do you all think J. Crew's cool? Other than some crafted T-shirts, okay. How many of you think J. Crew's cool? Okay. Again, there's maybe 10 or 15 people here. They're not cool. Vince is cool. Are we cool with Vince? No, we don't even know who Vince is. That's okay. We're doing fine. So what do y'all think is cool? Who's cool? Is Urban Outfitters cool? Is anthropology cool? Yeah, okay. So it's just there's a different audience. So I would tell you that theory, I would also tell you that the rumor on the street is that Andrew's been sniffing around Macy's to do a cheaper line for them too. So theory will be doing a cheaper line too. He's trying to figure out how bad it's going to hurt him because the specialty stores will dump him like a potato, whatever's left. So guys, and he's a very, very bright, smart man. I worked with him when I was at Tahari. So thanks, guys. I think this was great. Wait, another question? Yes. Well, the silk has to be dry cleaned. You can't hand wash silk because it comes out all wrinkled and crummy. So they have to drive to the dry cleaner and they have to use chemicals to dry clean the silk. The poly goes in the washing machine and can be washed in the sink and doesn't wrinkle. So it's my spiel. I'm a seller. Do you honestly think, what the numbers are that these women don't care about that? They care about food and what they put in their bodies or what you put in your bodies. But when it comes to like crunchy granola clothes, they're not the least bit interested. You guys may be more so, but the 50-year-olds don't care. They're not paying a dime more for anything that's environmentally okay. All righty? All right, well, thank you for listening. Have a nice summer. Go visit Cadhall at Lily O'Brien. Thank you. No, I'm okay. Oh, thank you. That would be great. No, this is perfect. Hi. My name is Mark. And our model. Yeah.
Well, that's a good question.
When I get that question, this is my answer to you. No, I haven't answered that coming. I do these all the time. Do you know the Dove ads where women were like, I don't dye my hair? Okay, so, right. The Dove ads where